Hello and karibu sana to my YouTube channel. Karibu means welcome in Swahili. Yes, first apologies for not having uploaded a video. As stated previously that every Saturday I would do that. That's it. I would like to continue the conversation still on gender-based violence, and I would like specifically to concentrate on some news coming in from Mozambique on the victims of the, if you've been following the news, Mozambique has experienced now two disasters. The first was the Cyclone Idai, and the second is actually Kenneth. And those two cyclones have really wreaked havoc across the island. Close, I mean, I don't know, is Mozambique an island on that thought? Yes, I think it's almost actually, because it's next to, it's located across the, not across, but alongside the Indian Ocean. So, I mean, very close to the Indian Ocean. On that note, I feel like I should probably check on those specific facts. Mozambique. Yes, as I had stated, Mozambique is a Southern African nation which is along the Indian Ocean coastline, dotted with popular beaches like the Tofo, as well as offshore marine parks. So, yes, that answers, the dilemma that I was having. So it's along the coastal line of the Indian Ocean. That's it. Now, if you look at the news that have been coming up across most TV channels, most online news websites, local news, international news, is how that particular country has been wrecked with two disasters. The first, Cyclone Idai, the second, Cyclone Kenneth. And those particular cyclones have really damaged property, damaged roads, damaged bridges, damaged communication channels, damaged farms, killed thousands. Now, why am I doing this particular video? It's because of the aftermath of these particular disasters. When you go online, you'll see several headlines. Tropical Cyclone Kenneth, death toll rises to 38 in Mozambique. Officials say 38 killed as floods worsen in Mozambique after second cyclone. Then the one that really caught my eye is UN probes sex for food aid allegations in cyclone hit Mozambique. Pause. You open that particular article, it states that first of all, the people affected, more than 1,000 people died, tens of thousands forced from their homes when the cyclone Idai hammered Mozambique before moving inland to Malawi and Zimbabwe. So those two other countries as well adversely affected. Then people poured in, well-wishers, volunteers, the international community, donor-related agencies, the church as well. in order to help, the victims of these two particular cyclones. Now, as I said, what caught my eye is that headline saying, as with any report on sexual exploitation and abuse, the UN says that they're acting swiftly to follow up on these allegations, including with the relevant authorities. So when you read such a headline, whereby it says the sexual exploitation of women struggling to feed their families after Cyclone Idai is revolting and cruel and should be stopped immediately. That is from a statement from Dewa Mavhinga, Southern Africa Director at Human Rights Watch, in a statement. Now, as I say, just pause and think about this. These are already people struggling. They have no food, they have no shelter, they've lost everything. They've lost their livelihood, they've lost their homes. And then now you have women being forced to trade themselves for food. It's a gender-based violence that I've been talking about, that we need to move away from just saying these things only, it's just domestic violence. Gender-based violence is very broad, and this comes to that, whereby women are being forced to give themselves up sexually in order to get food portions to feed their families. And the reason why women, again, for me, I speak for women a lot, is because at the end of the day, a woman will need to feed her family. A woman will need to provide. So she will go out of her way to find food for her children, for her husband. When they come back home, then there is food. So women are subjected, they are at the front line of such perpetration of, whereby people take advantage of the vulnerabilities of other human beings. And for me, I feel that Africa is not, I've not seen people reacting harshly on this particular headline. I've not seen a lot of, perhaps it's because I'm in the Eastern Africa part of Africa, but still, conversations from the Africa Union, conversations from international human rights bodies across the continent, this should actually create an uproar too, that this happens every single time. Whenever there's a disaster, then people suffer. And among those people, those who suffer most are women and children. And I'm not excluding men for any particular reason, because as well, men are affected. We just don't get to hear them speak about what they're facing within such disasters. Because also men will need food. How will they get the food? Are they also trading sexual favors for food? It's a question, it's a dilemma that honestly the international community, the African community needs to react to and say, this should not be happening. If you're coming to help people, help them. Help them genuinely. And again, one of the other key thing is that these disasters happen and, the world is quiet on what's happening. Because, thousands of people have died. Thousands have lost their livelihoods. Thousands have no place to go. They'll have to rebuild their lives. And again, the disaster is still on. There are diseases, because the disasters like floods and, things based on water, either, the rains, heavy rains, the cyclone, for example, come with diseases. There's malaria, the other just typhoid, I think it's high time we, as the African community, we look at these things and say, first, how do we react when it comes to emergency situations like these? How do we help those who are affected? Women, children, men. And we need to create solutions to reacting to these particular existing problems, climatic challenges that come. I mean, you've seen in Kenya, for example, we had the Turkana emergency whereby people were starving, people were dying because they did not have food. So we need to be angry enough and call upon governments, call upon the international community, call upon existing corporations locally, that is either the private and the public sector, to react to these social issues. We need to protect our women, we need to protect our children, we need to protect the men of this continent. Please join me as we continue this conversation on gender-based violence in all its forms. Do not be confused and say gender-based violence is only domestic violence. No, gender-based violence are so many forms: sexual, physical, economic, psychological. I touched on them in my previous video, so enlighten yourself and let's do something for the people of Mozambique. There are various donation channels whereby you can donate to help the people, the victims of Cyclone Idai and Cyclone Kenneth. Let's please stand with the people of Mozambique. Let's help where we can across East Africa, Central, West, from any part of Africa. Find a donation channel, a place whereby they're talking about the disaster, and a place whereby you can donate. You can volunteer if you're down south in helping the people affected through church organizations, through I think Red Cross is there as well, and various other international bodies. I'm not marketing for any of them, but I think we should speak about it. Thank you so much, and please let's support the victims of Cyclone Idai and Cyclone Kenneth in Mozambique, Malawi, Zimbabwe, but most of all Mozambique, because it's the most affected in Africa. Thank you very much.